all three Bill Ted movies.
All three, as in the latest one as well?
Yes, Face the Music.
Okay, brilliant.
Way before Keanu Reeves was Keanu Reeves.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about those another time. But
okay.
Today,
go on.
We're on to episode whatever. Oh God, the category is coming. Episode 29, which is focused on pop culture, the latest Disney live-action adaptation on Disney Plus, Magic Camp, Teenage Bounty Hunters, what we talked about on Thursday.
Yes.
And High Score.
High Score. Is that the mystery? Is that the secret one that you weren't ready to tell me about?
Yes, the one I tell you about, yes. We're about like the world of video games. Build up to that.
Okay, right. So where would you like to begin?
The first thing I will go with is Pop Culture, which is a documentary series about like this like artifact collector.
Yeah.
Of four of his favourite movies of all time actually come together in this series for yes, that is the one. Which is like see and like collect famous Disney artifacts.
It's a Disney Plus release. I noticed that on the poster. So when you say Disney artifacts, it is specific to Disney.
Yes.
Okay.
Indeed. Which is like share a lot creates the magical moment.
Plot synopsis for this, where he says Dan Lanigan revisits classic Disney titles and looks at them through the lens of how props help to shape and create their most magical moments. Ryan says he was intrigued by this show to see what it was all about. It does sound really interesting. The series is a joy with a lot of cinema nostalgia, and in the pros, you like the way they show classic artifacts, the stories behind them, and you will find out what happened to them over time. Ryan says he was amazed to see some of the actors from each movie shared their experiences, seeing these relics on how they age over the years. That's impressive, and the season itself is so fascinating. On the con, I wish there was more episodes of this. I can't get enough, so good for them.
Yeah,
Singing their praise.
That was my only criticism of this. I wish there was more.
Has it wrapped up, do you think? Is it finished now? Or could there be...
Well, I think it's more lines of shows or programs like
Popstar.
Yep, or the Anti-World Show.
Okay, yeah, so it's
like that type of format.
So they're discussing the thing. It's a discussion around an object that has some history. Is it obvious, Ryan, what the artifacts are?
Well, some of them I recognise, and some of the other ones I just learning a lot about.
Could you give me and the viewers an example, Ryan, of one of the things that you enjoyed seeing again?
Yes, they show like the old Tron suits from the original Tron movie.
Fascinating.
All made out of a lot of like texture.
I have no idea how they did that, and Tron is one of those movies that will never age because it was so ahead of its time. So it'd be really interesting just to see the outfit, the drab outfit. Does it have the lights on it, or was that a computer effect?
Oh, I think they did explain like they have like a computer effect. All the moves are like all the suits lights up and everything. That's all like computer effects.
Gotcha.
The suits, they're just their suits.
And is this privately collected stuff, or is this things that Disney has in a big storage warehouse?
Well, they did that, like, some of them are still going to Disney archives, or some of them probably shipped on to other collectors.
Yeah.
But these are big collector's items.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just left in some of the oddest places that you could possibly imagine.
Okay, yeah, so the story is what's happened to them since they were used and tracking them down sometimes as well.
Yeah, example, some of the stuff from Pirates of the Caribbean film, it's on like an actual island.
Yeah. There's so much stuff, they had to store it in an island somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Like example, the events they on the news from the first film, yet they are still there to this day.
Horrible.
Yeah.
That'll scare off all the pirates, the wannabe pirates. Yeah.
but I was surprised they had like some of the original cast members there from all these movies. The kids from the Narnian movies.
Narnia.
They are
Yeah.
there. They did show up there, but they're like now all grown up.
How long ago is that, Ryan? Because I think there was a Narnia remake in the earlier 2000s, but it's an old.
That's the one I talk about, the Disney ones.
Yeah. Okay.
I think like one of them is like still working behind the scenes in the movie industry. The other ones are probably just either living normal lives or just going to college. And they had like the original Tron person.
Jeff Daniels.
Yes.
The main actor. Yeah.
And they had like people like Christopher Waltz.
Jeff Bridges. I'll correct myself. Sorry, it's Jeff Bridges who stars in that film, not Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and also they had like the bloke who was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Rick Moranis.
Yes, him in person.
Excellent. Good for him.
Yeah, which it doesn't actually showcase in all the stuff he's done, but it just like it's him in person, like still retires and pretty much still owns like the stuff from that movie.
Okay, I love that he gets to take away stuff from the film. He might have brought his own stuff to the film set. I have no idea how these things work, but like you, Ryan, I love behind the scenes. I love deconstructing a film that I love. So seeing the props, for many years is quite fun. Just to talk about it.
Yeah, indeed, and that's what I say about prop culture. Really, if you are part of film nostalgia, Disney nostalgia, this is a show for you.
I recognize some of these names. You've got Danny Elfman, which he does the music, Tim Burton movies, and all sorts of things. In Ryan's review, he's listing a large cast. Ryan puts a lot of effort into putting this information on his page. So if you check out the link in our video, you can see all the people that appear in this. Yeah, he's got Rick Moranis as Self in the first episode.
Joe Johnson.
Who's that?
Oh, I think he's done the special best director for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Wonderful. So you get the technical people, the actors, but the people that make the special effects.
Yeah, and also you get to hear never heard of stories behind the plot.
Is it something that you binged, or were you happy to do it one episode a week? It's not like a plot, is it? It's episode to episode.
Yeah, episode by episode. Yep. Very fascinating. And for those who want to get a hook on for Disney nostalgia, this is a show for you.
I was going to say, it's kind of an easy thing for Disney to do, which isn't it's not a dig at them, but it's like reality television for Disney. You know, here's opening up our crib and we're going to invite you in and you get a tour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
But we like that, so that's okay.
Yeah. So that's woke culture done with.
Okay. What next, right?
We're on to Teenage Bounty Hunters, which is the craziest idea ever to put on a page.
I wanted to talk about this one. Go on.
But with smart writing and clever filmmaking, it might work.
Fantastic. We'll have a look at what Ryan's written about it. I just want to make this point. If anyone is browsing Ryan's review page, he has done hundreds of posts, if not thousands by now. Over a number of years, Ryan's had this WordPress blog. But if you go to the About page, search. So I have entered Teenage Bounty Hunter into there. And if I press search, there it is.
Yeah.
A Netflix original series presents Teenage Bounty Hunters Season 1, reviewed by Ryan Balkwill, with this poster.
Yeah.
Right, can I read what it says it's about, Ryan, and then you can tell me your thoughts?
Sure thing. Be my guest.
All right. This is a teen comedy genre created by Kathleen Jordan, starring Maddie Phillips, Angelica Bett Fellini, Kadeem Hardison, and Virginia Williams. The plot: after banging up their father's truck, high school students and fraternal twins, Sterling and Blair Wesley, fall into bounty hunting for a grizzled bounty named Bowser Simmons in order to pay for the truck's damages and without their parents knowing. Ryan was intrigued to the show. The series was a huge surprise hit. In the pros, Ryan says, "What makes this show work to me are the performances from everyone in the cast. This show is so hilarious with clever dramatic moments. The students are acceptable to move the plot along, and the final few episodes had twists and surprises that I didn't see coming. In the cons, certain moments in episodes 6 and 7 do get too dramatic and too soap opera-y. There's some sort of plots that I could have left out of the show, and you might need to prepare yourself to binge watch this again and again. Cool. That all sounds quite positive, Ryan. Soap opera-y, that's the only negative, but it's about teenagers.
Yeah, about teenagers, which grew up in a religious household.
Okay, that isn't mentioned, right. But their father's truck is banged up, and then they go from that to bounty hunting. I'm sure there's a bit of plot between there.
Probably just an easier way to pay the money of Dad's death.
It's made me wonder if Americans can do this. They've all got guns. Can they just decide to be bounty hunters one day, and the police are like, great, go out and get them?
Well, I don't know. I think in this day and age now, definitely this year, I think it pretty much might be possible.
Bit of a dark thing to talk about this year. I'm just curious, Ryan, how did they decide to become bounty hunters? Or does that get explained? Is it not worth detailing anymore?
Well, I think it's meant to be safe for the viewers to watch the show for themselves.
Okay, so we understand what the show is about. It's an odd one, how they end up doing this job. It reminds me, Ryan, of Hitmen, the program we were talking about, Sue and Mel, the celebrities from the Bake Off. So again, people that you wouldn't assume would get into that position are suddenly toting guns and taking down bad guys. It's a teen comedy. Is it very funny?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the bit when the girls get themselves into a sticky situation, they always carry turns to then talking over each other, talking as absolute gibberish about how each other deal together with each situation.
All right, Ryan and I discussed a program where these two women make a friendship and they're basically trying to not get arrested, and they get embroiled in kind of murder mystery. I'm wondering, Ryan, are these bounty hunters, these teenage bounty hunters, working for the police, or are they vigilantes? Are they on the run?
Well, yeah, probably halfly vigilantes.
Yeah.
Or probably they just looking at it as fun way of making easy money to pay their families back.
I mean, presumably, the grizzled bounty named Bowser Simmons is easy catch.
Yeah.
it's got me laughing already, in a sense.
Yeah,
that's quite good.
And I think it's played by the bloke from Everybody Hates Chris.
I don't know who that is, Ryan. I don't think he is listed in the cast because we've got 4 female names, but that's okay.
Yeah, so basically, all these are pretty much unknown, the 2 lead girls in a poster, I think they're brand new.
Yeah, it almost has a Freaky Friday kind of feeling to it, the poster. It feels like it's going to be a high school related thing, but bounty hunting. You'll have to watch that one to know more. I won't pry any more out of you, probably.
All these certain moments from episode 6 do drag along a bit too much. But it picked up the speed by episode 8.
Excellent. Okay. And how many in the series, Ryan? Do you know?
Oh, I think it's 10 episodes.
And this is a first season?
Yeah, definitely first season.
Bogus on Netflix. Sorry. I'm just looking at the poster in your details.
Netflix.
Yep.
Which is highly recommended.
Excellent. Okay.
And the next one, another Disney Plus original movie.
Yep.
Magic Camp. Or what I like nicely to say, the most generic magic movie you could possibly.
It makes me think of a kiddie version of Pitch Perfect. I'm not sure if that's even the guy who does the singing in the middle.
Oh no, I think that's the lead man in the movie. Adam Devine. Yeah, the guy who is the go-to guy for every launchy comedy and a lot these days.
Disney Magic Camp, this is not a reality TV. Is this a program?
Yeah, like a throwaway.
Okay. The genre, Ryan's listed comedy, magical, family for this. So I'm guessing it's for little kids.
Yep, little kids, yep.
Okay, this is good classic Disney stuff then. It's really aimed at any age bracket. The plot, a straight-laced banker returns to magic camp, which he attended years ago as a boy, to work as a compassionate and fun-loving counselor, whilst also keeping his eye on winning first place in the upcoming Golden Wand competition. Ryan was looking forward to watching this on Disney Plus. Based on magic. This film is by the book in terms of family-friendly entertainment. In the prose, Adam Devine was pretty charismatic, teaching these kids to become young magicians. The magic tricks were solid at best, and the kids' acting was fine. In the cons, this film hasn't really got anything wrong, apart from being a basic story and not too exciting. My first instinct, Ryan, is it's like your beach rescue. You know, here is a group of people that need to come together and learn some skills and then do a thing, win a competition.
Yeah.
It's a very American kind of plot.
Oh, yeah. Like very simple.
Let's team build and win.
Yeah, like what I said here, by the book.
By the book, very much so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a long leg as well of Disney Plus movie, or Disney Plus original movie, all be hit and miss. Like this, hits like Dargill, which I really like, the recent Secret Society or Second Born Royals. I thought that was entertaining, which we'll get to some point.
Okay.
And probably anyway, who knows? I hated that Amity Fall one. That was terrible.
Amity Falls.
Well, that or some other name. I can't remember that name. I haven't seen the live action Mulan yet. And
We're certainly hyping it though, Ryan. I think there isn't a week that's gone by you haven't mentioned Mulan.
yeah, and I know because that's the most recognisable name I think of.
Yeah.
And this one, Magic Abbey, like right in the middle.
It doesn't feel like a film that would have come upon my radar the way Mulan has. I don't expect this as a high-budget film. And is it a release just for Disney Plus? It wouldn't have been on.
Like a quick something they could put on there and just entertain the kids.
Well, that's the thing, Ryan. You mentioned that it didn't quite land for you, but if it was aimed at very small children who don't have a backlog of film or programs they've watched, then I'm sure it works for them. Like you say, it's by the book. It does all the jobs it's supposed to do. It's just not memorable.
Yeah, like well, probably something to entertain the kids with their at home.
Good. Well, good on Disney for making something that is probably harmless that kids can enjoy. And with the magic, you say the magic is done quite well. Is it giving the audience any idea how the magic is done? Because often they try and keep the secret of that.
Oh yeah, pretty much. And the official thing what done here, it's really close to the actual movie, but instead it's like you doing the magic tricks.
Which one are we looking at? Oh, in the bottom corner.
Yeah, the one wearing the purple jacket. And just me as like associate and they just being impressed. Magic probably just not like the worst film ever I saw this year, but it knows it does and does its job be well. No argument there.
Did you intend to write a review about this one, Ryan? I'm curious. Did you watch it with the intention of writing about it, or did you just happen?
Yeah. Well, I watched it because, a new Disney Plus film. Okay, then. On.
So that's how it works. Disney Plus released a new thing, and you saw that there was a new release, and you thought, right, I'm paying for Disney Plus. I'll watch this.
Yeah, or probably, like, there's another famous face like Adam Devine. But like, oh yeah, I saw that guy in a film before.
Okay, so a bit of star attraction brought you to this film. And it wasn't a waste of your time. Because again, Ryan watches a lot of stuff. And you mentioned a few times in our interviews that you need to look after your time. You need to be careful how much you devote to Amazon, Disney Plus, Netflix, WW. So you've got to make sure that you're getting good amount of stuff from all over the place.
Yeah. So that's done. And the final thing I got on my listening is High Score, which is a Netflix documentary series.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm already taken. It's got 8-bit graphics and what looks like an old, well, it's not quite a Nintendo controller, but it sort of is.
Yeah, pretty much. This docu-series, let me try to spell this one.
Carry on, yep.
This documentary series trails the history of classic video games featuring in-depth of interaction from being how it grows. Like basically say how much it grows, video games have grown so much. Where world and characters to life.
Yeah. I mean, the history of video games is a wonderful thing because there's quite a lot of history now. So this goes way back, does it? I mean, it's hard to know where to begin. You could start in the 1960s, but probably begins with the release of actual games in the late 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, they're like tons of them. I think they've mentioned a lot from there, like Space Invaders, Mortal Kombat, the other Mortal Kombat style game.
Tekken?
Oh yeah, Tekken, thank you.
Yeah, I think there's like 15 versions of Tekken now. I played the first, second, and third one back in the day. Yeah, I'm so removed, right? I just want to say quickly, I'm so removed from gamers nowadays because I happened to mention Tekken last year, and someone was talking about like the 12th version, and I meant like the first one, and it was clearly quite embarrassing because I don't think kids would have played the first 7 at least. Anyway. There's quite the evolution of video games in Tekken itself. The original came out in 1995, I think, and now it's still being made in 2020. So,
and they mentioned like other games like Legend of Marvel ones, a lot of X-Men games, and how much like the big war between like Nintendo and Sony.
Yeah, it would have been Sega as well as a game developer. They were very
Sega, that's it. That's what I say.
They're very exclusive from Nintendo at the time, and now Sega kind of produces games for various. I think one of the things that's lost for me is that you can pretty much get the same game on various consoles now, whereas you had to have the specific console to play that line of games. So Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic, and they never met. They were always quite divergent.
And they go like in the story of like how all the creation of Sonic came together, which all this it goes like 6 episodes.
Okay, that's interesting. And are they about an hour long each, do you suppose?
Yeah, definitely an hour long each.
Good, because I imagine there's quite a lot fans would like to know about this. This is probably a program for the fans, people who played the games, because if you haven't played them, you're not going to be that interested.
Yeah.
Do you think, Ryan, I wanted to ask this, do you think this is going to be interesting for younger audiences, people who didn't grow up with these games? Do you think they're going to go, oh, it looks rubbish, or are they going to be interested?
Well, yeah, probably be interested, probably from this series to try to get them younger people into like video games and learn about the history behind video games. Some of them you've probably seen them by now, is a lot of teenagers or kids, or probably in their teenage years, they're probably getting into video games.
Well, I was into video games from about the age of 5, 6. Fortunate that my dad could get certain consoles, and I have an older brother. Go on.
That's good because I'm actually on the same way you are. I got into video games when I was still in hospital at a time.
It's a great pastime. It's such a good way to waste the time.
With the old Sega.
Yeah. One of the things for me, Ryan, stop me if I go off too much about games, but when I was a little boy in like the very late 1980s, early 1990s, the Nintendo controller fit in my hand. Nowadays, my hands are too big to play original Nintendo. It's very difficult. So I'm grown up now.
That's terrible. Yeah, and I think they go through how they come up with concepts like Legend of Zelda, Sonic, the racing platforms, and they talk about like a little bit next gen console near to the very end, like how much like next gen consoles can now do anything incredibly now, like with Fortnite, Worlds of Tanks, and all those like.
This is live streaming gaming. It's so removed from the hardware, the box. It's okay. Now it's about having an internet connection, which is so different to how I grew up with games. You'd have the box, it would stop working, you bang the box, you blow on the cartridge, put it back in, and it works.
And also, a lot of famous people and also YouTubers are now like into video games now.
PewDiePie, I've never seen him. I would otherwise interested, but he is just a game reviewer, isn't he?
Yes, and I think he showed up like in a few podcasts, but not like to anything major.
Okay, it's just an example of people can become millionaires just playing games on YouTube.
Yeah. Sometimes I can't believe it myself. Like,
You had to be there.
how did people become billionaires from playing video games?
Love.
Madness.
Good timing. When the consoles only had certain processing power, so you had 8-bit graphics, then 16-bit graphics, then 32-bit graphics, then you had the Nintendo 64 with 64-bit graphics. I mean, it's off the chart now. What games can do now is incredible. But it was interesting how consoles were limited to what they could do at each step based on the processing power. And, you know, creators had to be creative about what we do with these characters. So Mario, classically, was only about 5 pixels. You know, he was a few red pixels for a hat, but it was enough to charm you. I think the artwork on the covers makes you get a sense of the character. And then it doesn't matter if you're just looking at a bunch of blobs moving around on the screen.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't actually know cons about this series.
Excellent.
Because this is like a very positive show.
And how could it go wrong? It's just about celebrating the joy that grown-ups like me and young kids will get from these games.
Yeah, so I think this is highly recommended.
Where can we see it, Ryan? Netflix. We've often spoken about whether Netflix removes things. My hope is that this will stay on Netflix for a long time.
Oh, because... yeah, definitely. When I think it's stuff that is licensing made from them, I think they probably might stay with them for the long haul.
That's great. I mean, if it's a documentary that's airing on Netflix, it might appear elsewhere, but you can get it. And 6 episodes, you say, detailing the history. And it came out this year. It's a very recent release. Yeah, August 9th, 2020 is when Ryan posted this. It's when it was released.
Yeah, because that's me, certainly. I just might point stuff on there like a crazy person.
So you put this up on the day it was released. You watched this as soon as it came out.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Get in there first as the reviewer.
Right. Now, I just got to quickly mention about the first of 3 Bill and Ted movies.
Oh, go on then. Yeah, let's talk Bill and Ted.
Yes. which actually my tutor here can't believe I just watched them.
Well, I grew up with them. I always preferred Bogus Journey.
I thought so.
But Excellent Adventure is good too.
Oh, yeah. Excellent Adventure. It's actually really great.
One of the Easter eggs, Ryan, with Bill and Ted is Rufus, the character who wears the big coat.
Oh, yeah.
He is a stand-up comedian called George Carlin. He passed away in 2008, so he won't be in the latest film. But he is a very rude and very funny stand-up comedian, very adult comedy. He does a lot of swearing.
Oh, yeah.
But appearing in those films, he's very sweet. And it's lovely to see him in like a kid's film, essentially. But then, as I grew up, I then became a fan of George Carlin, the comedian. I love everything about Bill and Ted. And that's one of the aspects I love.
Yeah. Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah. And sometimes when I'm watching it, I could not believe that was Keanu Reeves.
Oh, bless. Because that's
I can't believe this is the same guy that was in Speed, The Matrix, and John Wick.
Yeah, I think with Keanu Reeves, people treat him like a bit of an idiot stoner, you know, bit dim. And that's because of the roles that he played in the very late 80s, early 90s. And then Bill and Ted was his breakout film. But he basically plays like a stoner waster, you know.
Yeah, right.
And it's hard to then take him seriously when he's playing a policeman or wearing a suit. But we got there, you know. I think after The Matrix, people took him seriously as an adult actor. Very much like the Showbiz program we were talking about. Keanu Reeves had to transfer from being kind of a child actor in films with River Phoenix and, you know, and then had to leave all that behind and then grow up.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Showbiz kids because they got Alice Winter as well, which he actually directed Showbiz Kids. I looked up his Wikipedia and it's him. He directed it.
So this is the other guy who played this, Ted. I always get him confused. I never care which one is which. So he did an interview recently, which I haven't read, talked about the struggle that he had after making the Bill and Ted films. And yeah, he, like Rick Moranis, he kind of disappeared off the radar in the 90s. He directed the Showbiz Kids documentary.
Yeah, he directed, voted, and produced Showbiz Kids.
Good for him, because no one has a better insight than he or people like him as to what it's like to be super famous. I mean, everyone knew that guy's face, but then they never saw him in any other films. And that's his choice. He decided, I don't want to be this character. I want to be a human being, you know.
Yeah. And also, here's what I think about all these Bill and Ted movies. I think the first one is a classic,
Yeah.
which I just watched, which is brilliantly. And the second one, well, I pretty much enjoy all three of them.
You've got to love death, man. You've got to love death.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't thought, oh no, these people are going to get a head chop off. No, he's just a friendly.
He's a bit goofy, yeah.
Yeah, and also, I'm surprised they actually beat him in a game of Battleship.
That's great as well. I can't think of the movie off the top of my head. It's a very famous film where a guy has to play chess against death who has the white face. So they're parodying this famous black and white movie. The idea is they won't play chess with him. They'll play this game, that game, and end up playing, what is it, like ice hockey, where the thing just spins around. It's really funny. It's kind of like Austin Powers before there was an Austin Powers, Bill and Ted.
Oh, God. Or before I ever heard of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I mean, with the TARDIS, yeah. Bill and Ted is an interesting mix of all these things that we kind of know from other stuff. And there was a cartoon, which I watched. It's funny because I watched the movies as a kid, but then you didn't have these films on Netflix when I was a child, so you couldn't just watch them whenever you wanted. But there was a cartoon where Rufus would send Bill and Ted through the wormhole every episode to a different time, and that was good. I watched hundreds of episodes of that, or it felt like. So I definitely watched
when I was growing up, I never heard of that. I'm surprised in the third one, it's them, but a bit older.
How do you mean?
As in the brand new one, based
on
in
the third one. Sorry, in the third one, yeah.
Which is them, like, all grown up.
They did a Dumb and Dumber movie again, didn't they? With Jeff Daniels and
Jim Carrey.
And you just think, why are they doing this now? Why 20 years later? Or nearly 20 years later?
Probably they got other things going on at that time as well.
It's just like so much time has passed. Why are we revisiting these characters? But it's great, you know, not to complain. I hope that it's a good watch, the third film. I don't think I care to watch it because I love the first two so much. But if you say it, Brian, then...
Well, probably, you know, within the 90s, I think the technology wasn't right for it.
Okay, maybe. I think the wormhole scene was big in the early film.
Hollywood was so, like, up their noses,
right.
They're probably like, no, let's just pass me. So the company themselves are buying it, like, gone bankrupt.
So they were trying to make this a third installment for some time, do you think? But
yeah. But I think also the actors are moving on with their lives. Keanu Reeves goes on to be a big movie star.
Yeah.
This winter is pretty much sick of it, just going on directing and writing.
I always thought he was the better actor. I think Keanu Reeves is great. I love him. But I honestly didn't think he was that great an actor in Bill and Ted. I just thought he stood there and looked very pale. It was Ted who did all the, you know, the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm confused. It was the shorter guy who did the better acting, in my opinion.
I did villain in the second.
He was the robot Bill and Ted. I can't remember.
I'm not talking about them. I talk about the bald-headed bloke.
Yeah, it's been over 20 years, Ryan, since I've actually seen the film. I can't remember the initial setup. I know that it starts with Rufus being very friendly, and then something terrible happens, and then he sends the phone booth back in time and supposed to send a warning. I can't remember though.
Yeah. You know, Collins, hear you say all this, and I will say in Bill Ted 2, the costumes, definitely the ones in the future, they look completely terrible.
Do you mean in the? Are we talking about the third film now?
No, the second one.
Right.
I talk about the costumes. They look terrible out of rubber foam.
I'm with you. What I love about 90s sci-fi is it predicted a future which we are now living. You know, they would say 2020, and you'd think that's so far in the future, it can't possibly ever happen.
I never thought that.
And you're like, people are still wearing normal clothes.
Like me.
Yeah?
Like me.
But it's always good fun. I think if you told me the third film was rubbish, I wouldn't watch it because I wouldn't want to sully my experience of Bill and Ted. But if you say it's good, and if they both agreed to be in it, then I'm sure it's worth watching.
I thought the third one was missing a bit of the Prop and charm that the first two had, but it does just show their own story.
I mean, at the end of the second film, they aren't very good at playing guitar. That's why they always air guitar. But they go away and they learn and they come back. And they come back with children, and big kids. And I love that because it's all time travel. So is the third film carrying on the plot from the second film?
Yeah, the third one is carry on for the second film.
So
but
they're
like all grown up now, and they are basically like father figures to their daughters.
There you go, and they have the princesses, don't they? The babes. Yeah.
Yeah, and probably I saw a YouTube video talking about this film. You might have heard of them, OSW reviews. When they talk about the princesses, they talk about the original cast from the first film. They got weak ass as like 3 different actresses.
I think, in fairness, we're focusing on Bill and Ted, and there was probably a bit of sexual politics that would be different now to how that first film was made, where we would actually pay more attention to them. Everyone in the first film is basically a prop for Bill and Ted to use. What they get Lincoln, and they get Billy the Kid, and they get all these historical figures to help them with their homework.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And I did. Thank you. I was going to say, I can't believe in my wildest dream I could picture Abraham Lincoln saying, "Come on, dudes."
That was excellent. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and like a podium, have it going, it's swimming pool.
Yeah, I like how they get so crazy. Get Socrates, but they can't be bothered to say his name correct.
Just getting like absolutely like furious in a game of bowling. Brilliant.
Yeah, basically no one is more important than Bill and Ted. They are the ultimate historical figures. That's the point.
It's like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah.
In live action.
What do you think, Ryan? What if they ruled? Because the idea in the movie is that in the future, Bill and Ted have changed the world, and everyone is now just really cool and hangs out, and there's no hatred. Do you think that would work?
I think that was the backdrop of the third one.
Yeah, because I suppose the third one has to deal with everything the first 2 films set up. So I'd be interested to see if it still holds together, because it's all very nonsense.
Oh yeah, like time travel and everything. But they are now older now. They can't remember the song that unite the world together.
Go on.
They travel back in time to try to remember the song, to get the song back, to reunite the world again.
Good for them. Yeah, we need
time travel. When they were both rock stars, and another time they were like prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which are all warded up, and you got another emotional timeline where they're like elderly, like in a care home.
Okay.
Which actually brought out the most emotional part of the movie.
Right. Okay.
Which one bloke had the song, which probably they had for 100 years.
Right.
And they gave it to Bill and Ted from the past. Yes. To use it to reunite the world.
All right, cool.
That's when the plot twist.
Careful now, because we don't.
I was saying.
Good man. Is there a trailer available for this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we will add the trailer to the very end credits of our video. The video that this video will suggest you watch next could be the Bill and Ted new movie trailer. That way people can see a quick example.
Yeah. So, that Bill and Ted for you. And I probably must save the third one up to you, look. Up to you to explore.
All right. I probably will, Ryan. If I get the chance, I'm watching Utopia right now. I'm not sure if you've come across that on Amazon.
Oh, Utopia.
It's a remake.
I see what you mean, yeah.
But let's talk about that when we have a bit more time. All right, Ryan, thank you so much for your reviews today. They've all been quite upbeat and positive. And
They are.
all right, man, thank you very much. See you again.
Yeah. Be excellent to each other.
Excellent. And
Yeah. See ya.
bye, man.
Bye.